I'm Deep Mahaman and you're watching the Redmen TV.
Inclined. Right, we're going to move on from Pictures of the Week and we're going to focus on Liverpool's next match, which is Norwich City. Chris, obviously off the back of the Man United defeat, the Twitter boots are obviously out in force. They'll be expecting us to go out and win against Norwich City.
As will I.
As will you. Well, they've basically just answered my question, sure. Next. No, but obviously, is this the kind of game that we need off the back of Man United?
I don't know, they're a pretty decent side, Norwich, but I would expect that we have to go out there and get 3 points in this game, particularly with the next two coming up afterwards.
Yeah.
I would like to see it, although I don't think it'll happen. I do think that Sturridge will start, and I'd like a Liverpool manager to put his strongest team out, go 2-0 up and then take the good players off, rather than wait and bring the players on with 30 minutes to go to try and change the game. So I would like him to make a statement on Saturday and start with Sturridge and Suarez.
Just on that, I mean, it's just a point that I made to a few people against Man United, and Sean, I'll pick your brain on this, is that we could have started against United with Sturridge, Suarez and Borini up front, but what have you got on the bench when it doesn't go?
Yeah, I don't know.
Doesn't go right.
You know, it's what the end score is after 93, 94 minutes or whatever it is, and especially away from home at Manchester United, it's rare that you're going to be out of sight winning comfortably with 20 to go. So there's always a chance that you're going to have to bring people off the bench to win it. At United, you know, have had games, and for all we knew, could have been drawing, and the game could have been stretched, and it would have been ideal for them.
Yeah.
And we don't know medically, you know, what kind of fitness Sturridge is in. It certainly looks like, understandably, they're taking things slowly with him. Judging by the time he came off against Mansfield, you would have maybe thought 70, 75 minutes in that game, and they didn't. That had obviously been pre-arranged.
But going back to that Welbeck run, where he did, you know,
he tracked him.
He was the one who tracked him.
And then buzzed off him when he fell over.
that mate, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, that
looked like they were. Yeah.
The good thing for the Norwich game on Saturday is in what could be quite a mundane game, it's his own debut, isn't it? And you think that he's going to be right up for it, so it's a no-brainer to start him. And you know, he's direct, isn't he? You could see him easily first 5 minutes. Even if he blasts one to the back of the cop, you could see him, you know, beating a couple and just getting the crowd going a little bit.
That's half the battle, isn't it?
I think
especially
that's it.
We spot.
Come in, mate. Slipped in there. No, this is interesting. Go on. It's all right.
Oh, City like this.
It's not Tesco's car park, like, you know what I mean? Go on. This is it's a great point, that, don't it, isn't it? We've the way the Anfield crowd's been for the vast majority of this season. It'd be nice to have a player like Sturridge turn up and just go, fuck it, have a run, get on a run, use his pace, get everyone excited, have a few speculative shots or whatever. There's no harm in having a player who does that, and that's the beauty of having striking debutants to a certain extent. Remember Dirk Kuyt did it on his shot from 5 shots from 35 yards. Like, if you think, well, what have we bought here? It's like Wayne Rooney. Little did we know.
Nigel Clough.
Yeah, precisely. But no, it's going to be exciting to be there and see a player like that making his own debut.
I think, you're right. I think the interesting thing about Sturridge is he's got physicality as well. He's got height, but he's also got physique.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be. He's got pace as well. He's not going to be knocked off the ball with that physique either.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've lacked. So he's not a traditional centre forward, but he's built like one.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gives us a little bit of something else. And going back to very, very quickly to the United game, you know, Suarez was quite subdued for a large part of that game, and so it'd be interesting to get him and Suarez in whatever formation at a home game when there's a bit less pressure on them. But I would say that since we beat Norwich comprehensively, they've improved a lot.
Yeah.
And I think they'll look at us and they'll know how we'll come out at them at home, because we will do, and they'll see our soft midfield, and they might see that that's something like a lot of teams have seen that you can run through.
Yeah, well, let's have a quick look at the Norwich form guide then. Sort of trampling entirely on Nick's points. The last 6, the win, 4 defeats and a draw. But no, I do take your point. That's off the back of a very good run after a slow start to the season. Away from home, they've lost their last 2 taking 6 points from a possible 18. They're currently 12th in the Premier League table, having scored 24, conceded 34, which gives them a goal difference of, Chris?
-10.
Fabulous, fast math. And a points total of 26. It's also written on the sheet in front of you, dynamite. So I mean, the form certainly favours us in that respect. And interestingly, Sean, we currently have the second best home form in the Premier League out of the last 6, behind only Man United. So what could go wrong?
Are we really getting to the stage where we've got to look at the last 6 home games when we're halfway through the year to second, we're not even top?
Yeah,
the straws have been clutched. We're going above that now.
We have a fistful of straws. Sure,
it's been a successful season.
It has so far.
Yeah.
Been a successful 2030. Yeah, anyway.
I don't think you can ever take these games like this for granted, because teams like Norwich, they got a point last year, and this is massive for them. They're all going to be up for the game, and their performance levels, or certainly what their hunger and desire is going to be. It's not going to be their average. This is Anfield, and they're going to want to put on a good performance with a bit of confidence from last year. I think games like this are really important in terms of Suarez, and I think the next between now and the end of the year is really important in terms of keeping him.
Yeah.
Because it's looking likely Tottenham will get 4th. I think if we can go on a run of form now, and particularly if he strikes up a bond with Sturridge, and if we can have games like this on Saturday where we can get through the first half hour, get one up, and put a few goals, and then Suarez is enjoying his football, scoring a lot of goals, seeing a partnership with Sturridge, there's that sense of, we're onto something for next year. I genuinely think
we've got an offer for next year. Yeah.
If this doesn't quite work, and we end up 7th, 8th, how much longer do we keep Luis Suarez? And it was hard enough to, we were lucky enough to get him when we got rid of Torres. With our current position, we've got to keep him until we get in the top.
Did we get rid of his Uruguayan mate?
Yeah, I mean,
he drinks his strange tea.
He's not going to have the Rob
does drink his strange tea with
the Rob Gutman flask.
Yeah. No, it is definitely. It's interesting because you touched upon last year there, Chris. I mean, this is basically a year on from when our goal scoring woes began. When we all were like, "Oh, we'll turn up, we'll steamroll Norwich," and we had. In fact, I've got the stats here. We had 26 shots or something in that game. 29. There we go. I've written it down. See. One of us can read off the sheet. It's not me. We had 29 shots, 21 into the box. Ruddy made 8 saves, and obviously Bellamy scored the goal. But that was the one where we absolutely fucking annihilated them, apart from the goals.
Championship final all over again from fucking 2006. Remember that one? About 70 shots, that one.
Yeah. But this is it. This is where it all began. There's a real chance to sort of exercise some demons by going out and getting some goals against Norwich.
If we start with 2 strikers, or Sturridge and Suarez rather than 2 strikers, then I think we've got a chance. But it's been the story of our season all year anyway, this 10-15 shots. I mean, we had 14 against Man United or something, didn't we? Still, we stuck 1 away. We need to, we've been saying it for months though, we need to just put a couple past the team, and then we'll start again. It hasn't happened for us.
That being said,
to just sort of slow, steady build, I think.
Well, we've been quite good against teams at that sort of level so far. We've started to win those games anyway, and we scored a few against Norwich away. We've gotten goals against the likes of Wigan and stuff like that. Is this the kind of game where, as Chris suggests, particularly now we've actually got a centre forward in the squad, and even 2 if you count Borini, we could actually start doing that, getting the goal.
Yeah, I mean, flat track bully, really, the bottom of the table, so to the bottom half of the table.
Right, Christian Walsh used this last week. What does that mean?
But I would call it just Iron Robin, in that you're going to obliterate all the small teams and win league titles, but when you're in the Champions League, you just can't turn on. You're just not quite at that level in order to do it. So if we get once we've got Arsenal and City out the way on this little run, we've got really winnable away games, and the hardest games we'd have left really are Tottenham, Chelsea, Everton at home. We got 7 points last year at home there, so there's no we could go on a good run, and getting Borini back and Sturridge in there, I'm hoping we end the season on a high, because I think we're going to need all the positivity going into next year, and I think keeping Suarez, and we've got next season is looking like making sure we keep Suarez and build that partnership with Sturridge, and hoping that we have for once a great window to sort of supplement that, because if Suarez and Sturridge stayed fit and they keep blossoming, that could be good firepower for next season. That could be where we build our team around.
Because you're talking about what you said earlier about a bit of a rebuild, actually, aren't you? Because you're saying we actually could do with at least 2 centre backs.
Yeah, well, we're also, you know, in the midfield. I thought Rodgers had sort of sorted it, but that's sorted it for this season.
Yeah.
You know, like you say, you couldn't argue if he said he was looking at a creative attacking midfielder replacement. Which, you know, Lucas, I think you have to judge next year to check whether he's fully after his injury, because it's natural to have a spike and then a dip after a long-term injury. So you can't judge that. And you know, Joe Allen, you know, I like Joe Allen as a squad player. I think the fee was wrong, and I think our priorities lay elsewhere. But I think you'll see a better Joe Allen. I just think that no one's being helped really by the midfield being a bit of a mess.
Do you think the criticism, Nick, the criticism of Joe Allen's a little bit harsh, given that he started the season very well? He's clearly had a dip, and I think the fact that Henderson's come in and done a good job, perhaps people are maybe judging Joe Allen a little bit too harshly at the minute, or, you know, on the flip side, do you just think he's not
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
I think I'm judging Allen on the fact that he's keeping Henderson out the side, in my view, and Henderson's got better form, and the manager appears to be picking Allen for other reasons than form, and he's also not delivering, as was self-evident on Sunday. So I'd be interested to see what the selection is for Saturday, but we've now added into that equation, in the greater mess of the midfield, is Lucas's form. So Lucas's form's gone through the floor, Allen's gone through the floor, Gerrard's is up and down, but you would expect Gerrard to play well against Norwich. Yeah, I certainly would expect him to.
Well, it's one of those cases. If Steven Gerrard plays shit against Norwich, then there needs to be major questions. Because if he doesn't go out there and perform against teams, that he's head and shoulders the best player on the pitch.
So what's he gonna bring? My view, bring Henderson in, Henderson up the top, Gerrard, and then you're looking at the holding the last holding midfield.
Well, sorry, I'll stop you there. Go on. Do you want, give us your starting 11 then?
Well, just building from the midfield, I would go with. The question is whether you go for Lucas or Allen, and sort of going against what I previously said. I think Lucas was.
Do you need him against Norwich? Is the question.
Yeah, and I think maybe Allen will play. Lucas will get rested, and it'll be Allen, Gerrard, and Henderson up top, and then you look at who are we going to go with a 3, so we basically make Henderson the point of that 3 there, or we go to having Henderson going out to either side and having Suarez dropping back. I don't know really. I think probably we'll probably go. I think we'll have Henderson and he'll try Suarez on the right, and then I think Downing will play on the left and Sturridge at centre.
Chris, the point we made in the subscriber show was with the Man United game was it felt very much like the old cliche of a game of 2 hours, but the first half without Sturridge on the pitch and without Borini, whatever, it felt very much like Liverpool's first half of the season, quite toothless and whatever. Second half, it looked like the team that Rodgers wanted us to be. Is it your hope that I mean, it's sort of a given really, isn't it, that we see much more of what we saw in the second half against United, get as many attacking players on the pitch and let them do the thing?
I wouldn't say start Borini. I'd say start Suarez and Sturridge, definitely. I think if Glenn Johnson's still playing left back, I think you've got to have a left-footed midfielder ahead of him, because he's more likely to cut in, and rather than have like someone like Sterling and that, and they're both making the same runs inside it, it's obvious, isn't it? So I think maybe, you know, Downing on the left-hand side with, I think he'll start Suarez up front and Sturridge, and just let them two sort of interchange a little bit and not go whole hog.
Put them on the pitch, don't necessarily nail a position down for them.
Yeah, but you know, if you start talking about Borini, Suarez and thingy all interchange, it's probably a little bit too much too soon for us. Let them two build up their understanding a little bit, and then maybe feed something in later on in the season.
And gives you an option off the bench as well, and another goal scoring potential there. So go on, give us your 11 then, mate.
Rayner, Wisdom, Skirtle, Agger, Johnson, Allen, Gerrard, Henderson, and then the 3 I just said up front that I can't remember.
Down on the left, Sturridge on the right,
Suarez up top.
But we're all going for the 4-3-3.
Sean, any counterpoints?
What I think Rodgers will do, or what I would do.
Well, like, what would you do?
What I would do.
Yeah.
I'd adopt sort of the Ferguson mentality really, and go 4-4-2 against him, and I'd play Sterling on the right. I do think he needs a rest, but I don't think we can quite give him that at the moment. I'd play Sterling on the right to try and stretch him, down on the left. I think he does prefer that lefty and the righty. I think he was just trying to protect Wisdom on Sunday by having Down on that side. But I'd have Down on the left, Sterling on the right, Suarez off, Sturridge. I would play Henderson and Gerrard in the middle. I think Henderson's good enough to play that holding role in there and be Gerrard's legs.
Yeah.
And you could play them as two holding midfield players and the back four that we've been going with. I don't think he'll do that. I think Rodgers might go Allen and Gerrard. I think he finished with Suarez and Sturridge playing fairly central. I think he might do that again. I was surprised that he threw Borini in with him only because he's literally just come back, hasn't he? You know,
yeah.
So assuming that he might be further ahead, he might throw him in with Arsenal and Manchester City in mind coming forward.
Get him some minutes on the pitch.
Because he did that with Lucas fairly early, threw him in, didn't he, to get an hour or 55 minutes, and he brings
Do you
him off.
think we could play 4-2-3-1 with Suarez behind Sturridge?
I think in games like this, at home, I'd like to think so, yeah. Norwich don't really have strikers who are going to run away from you, so you should be pushing high up the pitch again.
Quite the opposite, you want to be running away from Grant Holt, really.
Yeah. But I mean, the second half against Manchester United is them sitting back, being pragmatic and holding on to what they've got, and that's not going to be dissimilar to Norwich. They're going to sit back. So Suarez and Sturridge there. I think at home for the rest of the home games this year, we should be looking to go in that way. To be fair,
I remember going back to the Rafa Benitez here and 2008, 2009 when we were, you know, good, and we had.
It was a long fucking time ago.
It does feel a very long time ago. Going on 8 years since Istanbul. How the fuck's that happened? But no, the point was, we had Mascherano. He was an amazing defensive midfielder. I wouldn't have swapped him for any other defensive midfielder in that mold. But there were games where we simply didn't need him, and we played him because he was Argentina's captain, and you couldn't not play Mascherano. And you're playing, as we just said, you're playing Norwich at home. Do we need to have Lucas Leiva anchoring in the midfield? I think you're right. I think I agree with all these. I think I don't see there's any need to have Lucas in there. You should be able to get by. If you can get by a second half at Old Trafford without a genuine holding midfielder, I think you can get by at Anfield against a team that hasn't won in the last 5 or whatever it is, you know. And hope for the best. Let us know your lineup predictions. Leave them in the comment section or tweet me at the Redmen TV. Do you think this is a game to rest Lucas? Do you think Daniel Sturridge should be starting this game? Do you think Borini is worth a shout? Yeah, let's have a quick look at Danger Man Focus, Robert Snodgrass. I was going to do Grant Holt for this, but and he's a doubt, isn't he? He's not been fully fit recently, so there's odds that he might not start. Anyway, Snodgrass, he's started 19, 2 substitute appearances, successful dribble 25, accurate crosses 41, crossing accuracy 29%. He has made 3 assists, created 35 chances, 5 of which were clear cut, and scored 4 goals. Just to put that into a little bit of context, obviously Gerrard's got 4 goals as well, but he has 8 assists and has created 25 more chances. Now, I wasn't massively aware of Snodgrass. In fact, the first time he came on my radar show was when he had that chance 6 inches out against us at Carrow Road and put it over the crossbar. Long may that continue.
Yeah, definitely.
But do you think he's one to be watched out for?
Hopefully not. Wes Hoolahan is probably the main one for getting on the ball and making things happen. He's their sort of a ball player who might help spring some of their counter attacks for him. But to be honest with you, I do think they're there for the taking. I wouldn't, I'd be slightly concerned about set pieces, and we're not good in transition, are we? No. We are open on the counter attack, and there's no doubt that, as Nick says, they're going to be looking to target our centre midfield, counter attack, and set pieces. But to be fair, recently alone we have been building more confidence. I think since Redmen, when we sort of sneaked through a difficult last 10 minutes, we've had Wigan and Sunderland. And the Villa game, to be fair, is probably the right thing. That just the complacency's hopefully gone with the players. And with Sturridge making his own debut, hopefully the crowd won't be as complacent as maybe they were pre.
I think there'll be a buzz about Sturridge. Let's
certainly hope so. Right then, gents, score predictions. Nick, I'm going to come to you first.
3-1 to us.
Excellent, Sean.
I'll go with 3 now.
3-0. I like it. Go on, page, Jack.
2-0.
2-0, the Stabari predicted. What did you predict for the United game?
5-1, I think.
5-1.
5-1 for win.
Why not? Why the fuck
I've
not?
not been right all season, so maybe I'll fucking...
You're going to be wrong.
Do you know what I mean?
Be outlandish. You know what? I'm going to go with 4-1.
Didn't have balls to do that Old Trafford though, did you?
No, you fucking Thankfully, not thankfully, but neither did the manager, so it was alright.
It could have been at half time.
Could have been.
Half time is quite on the cards.
Please
4-0.
do let us know your score predictions in the comment section again. Tweet me at the Redmen TV. Let us know how you think Liverpool are going to get on. If you're watching this on the subscriber show, stay tuned. We're going to carry on to talk about a little bit of the transfer news and what have you. If you're watching this on YouTube, go and vote for us to win a Shorty award. Do it now. Thankfully a few of you have, but nowhere near enough. Get off your asses and do it. We're getting absolutely creamed by some no marks. Like, I mean, we're in fourth at the minute. We're about 1,000 votes off first place, which sounds a lot, but it's not, because we get like 5,000 minimum watching this. So, and we get 6,000 people on Twitter. So just get on your Twitter and just type a little thing in, and then you're away. All you got to do is go on.
It might be the way that you're asking them, you know.
It could be. But what do you want? You watch the show? Would you want me to go like, oh please vote for us? No, fucking vote for us, you lazy get. No, thank you very much to everybody who has voted, but you know, obviously now you've got to get your mum and your dad and your brother and your sister and your nan and all that to get on their Twitter. Stop following Lily Allen or whatever it is they do, and abusing Joey Bart and actually vote for us. Anyway, if you watch on YouTube, thanks very much. Do that, and we'll see you later. If you're still watching the subscriber show, gents.